big bans today, and we're not talking about Pioneer, which is what we're normally talking about. Today, we are talking about Modern getting hit with a huge ban.
Oko cannot live, he cannot stand. The video starts right now.
Hello and welcome to the day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. We are going to talk about yet another Oko banning in a MTG format. But first, if it's your first time here watching one of our videos, we appreciate it. Thank you for watching. If you want to stay up to the minute with the latest decks and strategy for Modern, Pioneer, Commander, Historic, Standard, Brawl, you want to talk about MTG Finance news and specs, or you just want to see us open some boosters, like Jake said, hit that subscribe button down there so you can stay up to the minute. We would really appreciate it.
Yeah, we've got a really fun video for you today. Oko got banned again.
Yeah,
got banned in Modern.
Yeah, we're gonna swap back over to this deck. We got three bannings. We got three bannings today in Modern. We got Oko, we got Mox Opal, and we got Mycosynth Lattice. All got aced.
Yeah, and normally on this channel we're talking about Pioneer. We don't cover Modern a lot, but that's because Modern very rarely gets hit with a ban, and especially a ban as big as this. Mox Opal is one of those cards that's been on the watch list for a long time, and I kind of feel like it's a casualties of war kind of thing here. Obviously at this point, and I don't think they would ever admit it, but Wizards of the Coast did a poor job designing Oko. It is what it is. The card is too pushed. It is too format warping. Just the fact that target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes an elk. There's so many decks that have important creatures and important artifacts, and so by having so much versatility on one card, it's a format warping card. I remember reading it too, and this just shows how bad I am at card analysis. Going, oh, they're gonna get a 3/3 though.
Yeah, right? No, yeah, you can't just give him a 3/3. That can't work. That card's not going to be good. And now here we are sitting with a top 8 of Modern where 6 of 8 decks are running... Sorry, 5 of 8 decks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. 5 of 8 decks are running Oko, main board 4 of.
Yeah, so that was the big argument for Oko. I mean, if you even really need an argument for Oko. What you need to know about Modern is a very fast format, and it's a very finely tuned format. It's a format that's been around for a long time, and so the cards that are best in slot have kind of been determined.
Right.
And it really does take a lot for a card to get banned, because it just has to be just really good, or it has to have a card that has enabled it into doing something that is over the top. But when a card comes in like Oko and it dominates Modern, I mean, I'm sure that's what happened, is all the Modern players saw, oh wow, it got banned in Pioneer. Oh wow, it got banned in Standard, obviously.
Right, exactly.
Maybe this card is good enough for our format. Not only is it good enough, it came in and warped Modern.
It's like I've said in previous videos, it is insane when a burn deck in Modern, people are starting to meme around, well, why don't we just jam Oko into the burn deck? And then people start doing it, and then Oko puts up a 5 of 8 top 8 finish in a modern open, and it's shutting down specific archetypes that have been pretty legit recently. But I mean, you want to talk about shutting down specific archetypes? Let's talk about the banning of the Mox.
Yeah, let's talk about the banning of the Mox, because, you and I were just talking on the phone, and I used to play Modern Affinity, which I think is a very fair deck. When you look at it in comparison to all of Modern right now, it's a deck that can have a really explosive start if you get the right cards. But even Affinity is kind of phased out and become like a Hardened Scales control, or not a Hardened Scales control, but like Hardened Modular is kind of what Affinity turned into, which exploits the card Hardened Scales. And that deck needs Mox Opal. And so there's a lot of decks that utilize the Mox Opal just to be viable, and because of Oko and Urza, the card is getting banned today. And it's a card that, Wizards has said it is on our watch list. It's a card that really does lead to some very explosive starts, but it's a card that gives these decks viability, decks that are no longer going to have any kind of viability. But I do think that this is a fair ban. It's a card that has been very controversial for a long time. It's just too easy a Mox to turn on.
Yep, absolutely it is. Our other big banning was Mycosynth Lattice, and that is because of its interaction with Karn the Great Creator.
Yeah. I mean, I've played against this combo. It was in a Vizier combo deck, like a green-white combo deck, and the deck just randomly during the game found Karn. The deck has another infinite combo that it wins by, but this one is simply get Karn out, tutor up Mycosynth Lattice, play Lattice, and now your opponents can't turn their land sideways.
Right. For those not familiar, it's choose an artifact you own outside the game or in exile. Go get Mycosynth Lattice. All permanents are artifacts. Karn, the Great Creator, says activated abilities of artifacts your opponents control can't be activated, so you can't tap your lands for mana. Wizards really doesn't like cards and interactions that make the opponent unable to play Magic. This has been one of the main driving forces of a lot of their bannings and a lot of their R&D. One of the main concerns of why they still allow cards like 3-cost Teferi, where instant speed interaction is cut out, and cards like the time loop, the extra turns loop card. I can't remember the name of it right now. But
Nexus of Fate.
Yeah, Nexus of Fate, where essentially once they get looping, you just got to sit back and be like, have fun playing solitaire. I'm going to sit over here and just wait till you kill me in 20 minutes.
It's the reason why that Eggs deck got banned back in the day in Modern, because it went on forever and your opponent doesn't do anything. So while you're going through your deck, taking an infinite turn, trying to find a...
whatever your finisher is. I mean, some of them finish with
why can't I remember the name of this card?
It doesn't matter. Some of them finish with the 3/1 flyer that attacks over and over again. I mean, once you're in infinite turns, some of them do Intervention Explosion and Invention Explosion, rather. The thing is that they don't like just solitaire MTG games. And so this makes sense to me that they killed this. Right.
Does it feel bad when it happens? Is it cool, or is it cool and it's kind of annoying, or does it actually feel bad?
Right. So, this has some financial implications as well, if we kind of want to pivot to that. I'm sitting on an Oko. I opened an Oko really late in the Eldraine cycle, like a week ago. It had already gone from up in the $100 down to $30, and that's still a, dope mythic. It's a $30 mythic. I can flip it. Didn't sell it yet, because I opened it very, very recently, just haven't gotten around to it. Now it's going to jump way down. It's still a good card for Cube. It's still going to be legal in some formats. I think Legacy, it's probably still going to be legal. And
it's going to get restricted in Vintage, probably.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. But from a financial standpoint, that kind of sucks. From a worse financial standpoint, in my opinion, how many people were sitting on Mox Opals at this point? How many people had full playsets, multiple playsets of Mox Opals? And how does this pair with the fact that Secret Lair came out late last year, and it was a completely out of set, not restricted by, balance printing of cards that they can just pick whichever ones they want. And so what does that do to the financial side, to the value of a collection? And what does that do to your confidence in the value of your collection?
Yeah, and that's a good question. Let's go back to that deck really quick, Joel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And go ahead and look up here, if you're watching the video, look how much this deck costs on Card Kingdom and TCG Player average. So you could see under where it says Snow Bant Control, $1,373 near mint on Card Kingdom, and then TCG Player average for these cards is around $2,100. So I don't know who you are or what your job is, but I could speak for myself. This is a large amount of money. If I'm investing in a deck like this, and most people probably have acquired these cards over time.
Sure.
But if you are buying into Modern, and you're buying in at that price point, and now all of a sudden a key card in your deck gets banned, what does it do for confidence? And I don't want people to think the sky is falling. Because
no, that's not our point.
Wizards at one time, they had Skull Clamp in Standard, and they had to emergency ban that just like a couple weeks into the format because every single deck was running it.
Right.
And I feel like the price of decks back then were a lot cheaper, and now you have these decks that are just so expensive in a format like Modern. And if you lose Oko and you lose your Mox Opal, what does that mean for moving forward? Like,
yeah, I mean, you've still got Jace at 100 a copy. You've got Teferi's at 25 a copy. Sword is $60. Force of Negation is up in the 30s. Path of Exile is a $6 uncommon. Paradise Bird's $4.
Yeah, it's not like these cards are
Yeah.
unplayable. A lot of them overlap, and a lot of them can go into different decks.
Absolutely.
But when you're tuning something like this, and it's a very specific deck, and I think Urza Oko, if you click on Urza Oko, that's the one that runs Mox Opal. But Mox Opal prices were encroaching $100. At one point, they were $120.
Right.
And although I will say, it's still a $100 card. So I will.
Well,
say
this is very recent. I mean, that announcement came out hours ago. What I'm curious is, you sitting there watching, did you lose value on some cards today? Did that banning affect your confidence in it, or did you think it was necessary and it's just an acceptable loss for the health of the format? I think that's a good stance to take as well. There's a couple of different ways to look at this. Yeah.
I every time Oko gets banned now, I just shrug and I go, that makes sense. I think them banning Lattice is actually a really good finger on the pulse, because that is a feels bad interaction, and when that happens, even though it does require, ramping into a car and finding a Lattice and then playing a Lattice,
right?
There's a lot of things going on there, but normally when the opponent has that kind of lock, it just sucks, and you're just like, okay, great job.
Of course. I think that taking Oko out is going to open up a little bit more strategies. I think that Burn is going to make a comeback. I've seen a couple people say that Amulet Titan is probably now the best deck in the format. Best with Modern. It's always been pretty diverse. This doesn't look diverse. This is actually a pretty shocking top 8 to me, based on other top 8s I've seen for Modern, not counting the late summer Hogak frenzy that we've seen.
I used to always talk to you about this, Joel. I used to always say to you, I used to be like, man, Modern is in such a good place. Modern is one of those where you're going to have 7 different decks in the top 8.
Well, I think that's Pioneer now. We'll see if this fixes Modern, because obviously, cards like Oko, I think cards like Once Upon a Time are going to be on a watch list now, because this card has been banned in formats that are way slower, and free
anything
things
banned before
right
should probably be on a watch list.
Yeah, absolutely. I am going to call it there. Let us know what you think about the bannings. Did your deck get banned because of this? Were you really playing Oko? Come on, were you really playing Oko? I want to know what you're looking forward to playing now that Oko is gone. Jake, last thoughts?
Last thoughts, man. Just stay frosty out there.
Yeah, with your ice-covered permanents. We appreciate you watching. If you want to support us, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. We would really appreciate it. If you want to support us further, we got a Patreon. The link is down in the description below. And if you want to hang out with us, we're streaming most Tuesday and Thursday evenings over on Twitch. I'm tapped out.
I'm tapped out, man.
Catch you later. Beautiful.